Trepanation, also known as trepanning, is the process of making a hole through the skull to the surface of the brain. An ancient surgical intervention that was once believed to cure a multitude of ailments, physically and mentally, as a last resort. In more modern times, people have chosen to undergo trepanation in hopes of achieving clairvoyance or a permanent state of euphoria. But what if someone chose to do this dangerous procedure voluntarily as a means of escape? What would it take for someone to be able to rationalize it? Whether it be generational trauma, unrelenting grief, or inescapable isolation, it just doesn't feel like anyone should break badly enough to fall to this point. But Bunny did, and this is his story. Hello, my name is Jouska, the voice inside your head, and today I'm going to be looking into the Trepanation of Bunnyborn Lops, an ongoing psychological horror series told out of order through Instagram Reels. The series is created by Al and Val, who use their own experiences to tell the story of Bunny, the people he knows, and the world in which he resides in. If you've tried following this series, you might have felt lost, so allow me to try and guide you through it. This is a series that has captivated me from the moment I saw it, and hopefully, you'll enjoy it too. For full disclaimer, this video contains possibly uncomfortable subjects. Viewer discretion is advised. Furthermore, I will only be using stills out of respect to the creators. If you like what you see, visit @BunLops on Instagram. Tell them that the voice inside your head sent you there. And remember, I'm only one man. Don't treat me like I'm so divine. With that out of the way, let's begin. Every story has a beginning, and this one is no different. The first reel posted to the Bunlops page showcases a warning to wait 7 hours until removing all bandages. It then flashes an image of Bunny's pulsating brain, clearly visible through a self-inflicted wound, before showing the final message, "I'm just too impatient." Many questions may be going through your mind at this moment, but we can't answer any of these questions without the proper context. Bunnyborn Lops is born to his father, Reed, and an unnamed mother in the early 1980s as the youngest of 3 siblings. Given that the series is set in the late 90s to early 2000s, where Bunny is 19, this fits the timeline. From the start, their mother's demand is clear: perfection. He and his siblings are expected to fill their role in the ideal nuclear family. It's a novel idea, but one that can easily prove to be quite lofty due to how unachievable it really is. This is why it doesn't take long for reality to seep through the cracks. Every minor mistake is treated as a costly error, a slip-up that cannot be redeemed. And as the facade of their perfect family disappears, Bunny's world as he knows it begins to crumble, leaving him to rely on his imagination to escape his reality, which only makes his mother more frustrated with him. She becomes spiteful. Her increasingly abusive behavior towards him results in his father making the difficult decision to file for divorce. A grueling process, especially when there's children involved. And while a court will try its best to decide who is more qualified to get custody, they don't always get it right. Bunny's mother wins full custody, and not too long after this, his father passes away. The passing of Reed Lops doesn't just take away the only positive influence that Bunny has had in his life up to this point. It drives an already reserved child into further isolation. It's the same isolation that, unfortunately, leads to him being taken advantage of by his uncle. It's something Bunny doesn't fully understand due to his age, but can feel how sick it makes him feel. Bunny's mother and uncle are adults that should be guiding him as he grows, yet they do the exact opposite by actively harming him. While this may easily be the worst thing that happens to Bunny, it's unfortunately the beginning of a lifelong cycle, because this is far from the last time that someone will take advantage of who he is for their own benefit. Do you remember your first day of school? How did you feel as you walked into your classroom for the first time? Maybe you were cautiously optimistic, despite your nerves. Or perhaps you ran into the bathroom and cried because you didn't want your parents to leave you. Regardless of how your first day actually went, sooner or later, every child experiences making their first friend. It doesn't even have to start with a shared interest or because someone made you laugh. Sometimes, all it takes is kindness at the right moment. Enter BB, Bunny's first and only friend, though in the future, she makes it difficult to call her that. BB, much like Bunny, has her own problems that we'll go over later, but be mindful that while she's far from the worst, she does play a direct hand in what happens to Bunny. These two, for the moment however, are tied to each other's hip. BB showed Bunny love and kindness for the first time since his father died. She wants to be his friend, and Bunny will do anything to be BB's friend. At this age, there's very little that doesn't fall under the umbrella of the word anything. Letting BB have his favorite toy or use the best crayons is a little price to pay for connection. Without BB's friendship, he's alone, left to his imagination, and that has only made his reality worse. So why not cling to someone that makes his reality better? It helps that she always knows just what to say. It's like she has an answer for everything he's going through at home. But try as hard as you may, nothing lasts forever. For now, BB is Bunny's escape, but high school only brings new ones with it. New people and new dangers. It's difficult to say how the entirety of Bunny's time in high school goes. But if his senior year is supposed to encapsulate his time there, then we can give a good guess. Bunny isn't popular. In fact, there's instances where he's actively teased or shunned by his peers. But he isn't a complete outcast either. Before his time in high school ends, he actually finds himself in a relationship, and a healthy one at that. It all starts in the hallway. One fateful afternoon, a boy approaches Bunny, and despite introducing himself, Bunny already knows who he is. His name is Rip, and he wants to hang out with Bunny at the school carnival, an invitation that Bunny gladly accepts. In little time, we see the type of character Rip has. When BB's friend leaves Bunny a fake note from Rip inviting him to go bowling, Rip comes to find Bunny at the bowling alley to apologize and walk him home once he finds out. He's reliable, understanding, and most of all, he wants what's best for Bunny. On top of that, Rip doesn't have much of a family to rely on either, just like him. These two seem made for each other, a perfect match. And over countless evenings of playing video games and late-night phone calls, they begin dating, and their bond results in many moments that are as sweet as they are deserved. It's difficult not to smile at all the little moments the two of them have together. Their relationship even blossoms to the point where Rip proposes to Bunny at their prom, and though it's only with costume jewelry, he promises to get the real thing once he can afford it. a promise that you expect him to follow up on, given his character. Together, they make plans to move out after they graduate, plans they actually see through, and while it will be difficult for them to live above their means with little preparation and no support, it doesn't matter. They'll figure it out. When you have your person, you're always willing to try. For his entire life, Bunny's led to believe that to be a part of someone's life, you have to meet their standards. But Rip allows him into his world without any conditions. A relationship like this is exactly what Bunny needs. One where he's not only accepted, but cherished for who he is. A relationship in which he feels comfortable in his own skin with someone that can be his anchor whenever the winds of life come to sweep him away. And that someone is Rip. Regardless of any challenges they may face, Bunny will be the best teacher, and Rip will get his big break and become an actor. Bunny knows it, even if Rip himself isn't so sure. As for now, nothing can ruin this moment. For Bunny, it's like being on cloud 9. But when you're at your highest, there will always be someone who takes notice, wanting what you have, or in some cases, they just want you. This is Fife, Bunny's not-so-secret admirer. They've known each other since childhood, back when Bunny helped cut gum out of Fife's hair after he had been bullied. It was a small act, perhaps so small that Bunny forgot about it entirely as time went by. Fife never did. It's like when a man receives an unexpected compliment. He never forgets about it for as long as he lives. There's no telling what Fife has done in the past to pursue Bunny, but now, together, in high school, it's clear that his once gentle infatuation is beginning to spiral out of control. He stalks Bunny from afar. He attempts to slither into his social circles. He even wears an outfit that is oddly similar to Rip's. You know, if Rip's name happens to be ironic foreshadowing, I wouldn't be too sure if that's the best idea for you, Fife. Don't lose your head. You've probably also noticed this guy tagging along with Fife. This is Titch. He's more level-headed than Fife, but goes along with his plans anyway due to the big crush he has on him. Fife is well aware of this fact and isn't shy about taking advantage of it. He wants Bunny, and he won't take no for an answer. It's not in his vocabulary. He's finally able to get Bunny one-on-one under the guise of needing help with studying. Bunny thinks nothing more of it, but Fife's made himself believe it's a date, so when Bunny agrees that their evening was enjoyable, it sounds too good to be true. Because it is. All this just for Bunny to say he's dating Rip. A failure. For most it would be equivalent to a brick wall. But if you remember what I said to set this scene up, you can guess how he reacted in the end. It's only a minor setback. Fife just needs to try again, and he will. Both Fife and Titch embody desire without boundaries. It has to be said that a big part of Bunny's allure to Fife is his unattainability. He's like a new doll that Fife can't have. And while there's nothing inherently wrong with the idea of wanting what you can't have, there's right and wrong ways to go about getting it. Titch, on the other hand, is attracted to Fife, yes, but he wants Fife to be happy above all else. He chooses to stay in Fife's world because he desires their connection despite seeing the way Fife's obsession affects others firsthand. He chooses to see the best in Fife, even though Fife often chooses to not show his best himself. This is why Bunny needs to be careful. If he loses himself trying to please others, he could easily find himself in a similar situation to Titch. He has to be able to set boundaries and not allow others to influence his decisions so strongly. But even if Fife continues to be a problem, As long as Bunny has Rip, he'll be safe. Rip won't let anything happen to him. They have a future together, one that could take them away from these problems. And who knows, many problems get rid of themselves eventually. And through this all, he still has BB. She and Bunny haven't been spending as much time together as of late, mostly because there's a new boy at school, one with fluffy blonde hair that gets dropped off in a brand new Mercedes. You know, this guy almost sounds too good to be true. He almost sounds like he's an angel. The name sounds divine, but he's anything but. And is it really that surprising? Anyone that hangs around people like this isn't good news. He isn't radiant or protective. He actively demeans others and does so with a calm certainty that makes him hard to resist. For BB, that certainty is intoxicating. They soon begin dating. This begins a cycle of abuse that she isn't a stranger to. Angel can do something terrible, and while she may react with emotion in the moment, it's that same emotion that takes him back in the end. All it takes is an apology and a small show of affection for her to mistake his actions for love. If this is his way of showing it, then maybe his abuse means she means something to him. And though the cycle is unrelenting and has no clear end in sight, Bunny stays by her side. As forgiving as Bunny is, he can see through Angel. He's had a feeling since BB introduced them, and Angel didn't help his case when he was with a girl that wasn't BB the next time he and Bunny crossed paths. But Bunny can also see what he's capable of. Bunny can still recall the surprise he felt when he closed his locker, only to see Angel looming above him. He grabbed Bunny by the shirt and threatened him, all with a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. In fairness, it never does. Even when he walks away with BB, he keeps up the appearance, and BB is none the wiser. With Angel in her ear, BB is becoming less of a lifeline and more of a chain. But Bunny feels indebted to her. He doesn't want to be like everyone else in her life. He knows that he's the only positive influence she has, and he doesn't want to leave her without one. He knows how that feels. This decision is to his own detriment. It brings him into Angel's orbit. Uncomfortable situations become more commonplace, boiling over when Bunny is exploited for photographic material by Angel and his friend Box to sell online. They would have no way to reach Bunny if BB didn't help lay the trap. She's willing to, because Angel's approval is on the line. The relationship between BB and Angel couldn't be more different than the relationship between Bunny and Rip. While Rip accepts Bunny as he is, Angel offers an alternative: acceptance through control. A relationship where you're only as good as what you're willing to give up. And if you're willing to give up enough, then maybe you do mean something. Since they were young, both Bunny and BB needed an escape from feeling like a burden, the chance to start anew, the opportunity to experience what true love feels like. And only one of them has achieved this. Until he loses it. Just like Bunny's father before, this death changes everything. One day he's here, and the next he's gone. It seems like just yesterday they were together, inside their apartment. Rip, still without his big break, with eviction staring them in the face, asked Bunny a question. What do you do when you want to disappear? Bunny hadn't thought about such a thing in a long time, only because he had him. If you've never experienced the passing of someone close to you, know that it comes with two things: clauses and regrets. but no amount of different choices or a desire to turn back time can bring them back. And even though we realize this, we still can't help wondering, questioning, and trying. It's what makes us human. Bunny is no different. His anchor is gone, and as the dreams that once stood hand in hand with reality disappear, his world darkens. Word spreads. Everyone has different reactions, but the common thread amongst them is condolences and the question of what comes next. For Bunny, it's a devastating realization, a reminder that the world can turn its back to you and keep turning. But for someone else, it plants a seed, a reminder that the world can take everything in the blink of an eye if it so chooses to. And it just removed the only obstacle he had in getting what he wants. The world knew that Fife had been there for Bunny all this time. Who was it that held onto his father's sweater when Bunny mistakenly left it at BB's house? Who left Box in an alley, giving him what he deserved after what he did to Bunny? That's right, it was Fife. All along, they were meant to be. And if the world is giving its blessing, then why can't Bunny? It's already been an entire month and 4 days. Isn't that enough time to get over Rip? He's only a high school boyfriend. Fife is his soulmate. It's not a bother. It makes things a bit more difficult, but that's okay. If Bunny doesn't want to come out and see what the world is doing for them, then Fife is more than happy to bring it to him. He just needs a little rope and some help from Titch. What do you mean Titch doesn't want to help? Titch has always been willing to help Fife, perhaps more than he should, but even he thinks this is too much. It crosses the line. This won't do. But fine, if Titch doesn't want to help, he can stay tied up until he changes his mind. Fife can untie him when he's on his best behavior. It's good for both of them. See, Fife isn't seen alone in public, and Titch is free to move his limbs. Clearly an equal trade-off. They can go about life as normal, given that he doesn't try to escape. But he does just that. Little does Titch know, running from Fife only sends him straight into the clutches of someone just as destructive. And he claims to know just how to help. All he needs is his head. Titch is Angel's first attempt at performing trepanation. In short, it's a failure. As Titch stumbles down the city streets, he knows deep inside that this wasn't worth it. His feet lead him right back to where he began, straight back to Fife. But this time, things are different. He has to show Fife one more act of kindness, one more labor of love to make up for not committing to his plan, even if it's the last time he ever does so. With this being the effect of Angel's actions, you would expect a sliver of empathy to reside somewhere inside him, but there's none to be seen. Someone had to be first, and it's worth the risk when the end result is eternal happiness. Surely, there's more people who need this right now, more than ever. And no one fits this description more than Bunnyborn Lops. He's completely susceptible to influence. Influence that could convince him of actions that could harm him. Actions that leave permanent damage. Enter Bibi, Bunny's first and only friend. She tells him about a cure for his grief. It's called trepanation. She did it and claims it saved her relationship. She and Angel don't fight anymore, and neither one makes the other angry. Their problems have all disappeared. If Bunny wants the peace of mind that she has, then the answer of what he needs to do is clear. The only problem is, BB is lying. It's changed their attitudes, but the problem still persists. She knows this, but just like every other time before, Bunny listens to BB. This time, she's all he has left. He asks her when Angel will be home. He's ready. Why did he listen to his only friend? BB takes care of Bunny after his trepanation is botched. It's clear that BB feels guilty. It's a part of why she takes care of Bunny, but it doesn't change what has happened. Bunny is unable to take care of himself. We see how much has been taken from him with each new interaction. He's lost most of his cognitive ability. Simple tasks like reading and writing, things he's always known how to do, are impossible now. And no matter how hard he tries to relearn them, he can't. Nothing inside him works like it used to. In due time, much like before, Bunny's imagination takes control, but his actions are different. Upon digging up Rip's grave, seeing his remains are enough for Rip to materialize in his mind. He looks different, but that's okay. Since he's a part of Bunny's world now, they can spend every day together, just like they once planned to, even if it's all inside his head. For all the questions that surround this story, one stands above them all. The one that is speculated in every comment section of every reel that is posted. What happened to Rip? There's many theories on what could have happened to him, but for now, it remains a mystery. Bunny's choices, however, do not. We will continue to see him live his life as a shell of his former self, while every so often catching glimpses of the past, a time where he had hope for the future. Things were never perfect, but he was always trying his best. And while escaping when you're at your lowest may seem tempting, please try your best too. Life is never going to always be kind to you, but only you can make the choice to continue moving. And if you don't give yourself the chance to, you're missing out on so many possibilities. Don't do that to yourself. Don't be Bunnyborn Lops. If you see yourself in him, that's okay, but don't escape when you're at your lowest. The story of Bunny teaches us that processing grief, internalizing it, and living with the effects will be one of the hardest things you ever have to do in this life. But remember that it's better to feel all of that than to feel nothing at all. I've been Jouska, and thank you for letting me inside your head.